Man,
We
stop the
are,
FOMO.
oh wait, let's enjoy the view. We are at CES and CES 2022. This is the view at the Venetian. This
Not
is,
for everybody.
no,
not
just
for everybody.
VIP, right? Just past the remote VIP.
Oh, my volume's up. Hey, make
And-
sure to let us know if you guys can hear us. We only have one mic. We're trying a new mobile setup. It's kind of cool. We got a screen here, a microphone here we're sharing, FOMO's camera up here. So let us know if you can hear us.
Yes, this is the first time we're doing on-site, remote, live stream. If the audio isn't working, let us know now, because the last thing we want is, I can't hear a damn thing.
Yeah. We got some highs.
All right, people are on? Okay,
They hear
okay.
us. They hear us.
All right,
It might not be like creamy, like, hey guys, how you doing?
I can do that.
But
Yo. The funny thing is there was that cleaning crew or that little cart that drove by, and it was so loud. I was like, oh
yeah,
no,
everyone's setting up behind us still, so there's really no reason for us to I mean, you can kind of see them, but it's a little, we have the aperture opened up, so.
The number one reason not to go to CES other than media, $5 water.
$5 waters.
$5 and change.
Dude, I had to eat. So let me just tell everyone real quick, because it's fun. I took an airplane. I took a plane ride after my basketball game last night. It was supposed to be a 9 o'clock flight, getting here at like 10:15. We didn't leave until almost 10. Got in at almost 11. And then it's Frontier, and I know it's my own fault for taking Frontier.
Right.
But it took 2 hours for them to get our luggage. 2 hours. I've never waited 2 hours for one bag. So there was 12 flights flying in from Frontier. At the same time, they had 8 people working the cruise. So the plane taxied for 25 minutes waiting, and then 2 hours for our luggage. Unbelievable. People were so pissed.
The best comment is from M. Wolde. Are you guys at Best Buy? You know what? This might as well be a Best Buy. But
Dude, I think there's going to be some cool tech here than Best Buy. I'm actually quite excited, and if you guys want to let us know in the comments, I'm stoked to like see crap that I don't even know exists, or like this sounds stupid, but there was like a new like smart crib for babies, and I'm like, what? Like, there's this new thing where they're like, you know, monitors and like sensors and stuff, and I'm like, there's just crazy stuff here.
I thought I forgot my HDMI cord. I was going to run to one of those guys. I'm sure there's a startup here making a new HDMI.
I'm sure there's Be like, hey, we'll promo your HDMI if you give us one.
Here it is. And speaking of HDMI, we are going to talk about new TVs. I'm going to inform, because Brandon came in late. He's tired. He's not caught up on all the news. We will have a live stream on my channel tomorrow with Robert Zone. But right now, let me give you a quick insight to what's so exciting at CES 2022. More exciting than the LG G2. The Sony backlight master drive is back at 4K, the X95K. Now, before we jump into that, let's just, you guys, get your appetite whetted just a little bit. So think about that. The last time we saw a 4K backlight master drive was maybe 4 years ago. This was Sony's best TV, and it was a master series. This is no longer a master series. It is the X95K. Starting at 65 inches, it goes all the way up to 85 inches. It is mini LED, and it has hundreds and hundreds of dimming zones. Sony won't tell us how many hundreds, but think about this, Brandon. Everyone asks us, well, if Sony could be so amazing with 60 dimming zones and a 65 inch, what could they do with hundreds of dimming zones and mini LED and backlight master drive? And it's an X95K, so it is affordable, more so than the A90J Master Series, which means pricing is most likely going to be similar to the X95J this year. We're going to get all the details from Robert Zone tomorrow, but I'm just so excited that we're going to have backlight master drive back, and I'm convincing Robert to bring that TV on to the shootout to go against the Samsung Neo QLED, because with hundreds of dimming zones, this Sony X95K 4K TV, black levels are going to be amazing. I'm just so excited.
And
what are your thoughts?
Well, so the X91, right, is the 100-inch? Is that the 100-inch or the X92?
X92 is the 100-inch.
And that has this similar...
No, so the
this is even better?
The X92 doesn't have mini LED. Actually,
but it has the master drive.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
It doesn't.
Why is it 6 inches thick?
They They definitely said it is not backlight master
Really?
drive. The only backlight master drive last year was the 8K, the Z9J.
Well, that
Oh, and by the way, the
is it-
Z9K, also mini LED backlight master drive, but master series.
well, the mini LED is a whole new game changer.
yeah, it's a whole new game.
But I mean, when I saw that X92, the 100-inch, and it was supposed to be like a, like the X90, it's not even close. It's way better.
Yes,
you know,
way
so
better.
We said it's probably more like the X95, but
I
even
asked
better than that.
I asked Robert about that.
Yeah.
He says he agrees. It looks like a whole other level.
I mean, but it's still 20 grand.
but they won't call it backlight master
Gotcha.
drive.
But it's $20,000
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Now this one, X95K, this is a reason to upgrade to a Sony LCD, because in the past, you know, you guys got to go with the Samsung because the black levels LCD is great, blah blah blah. But when everything is bright, the Samsung and the Sony, I prefer the Sony. Now, in the black zones or the black HDR, dark HDR with bright areas,
Are we on audio? We got audio? Oh, we're back. We're back. We're back. All right. So, FOMO's camera overheated. I mean,
Wait,
you would expect nothing less from a $7,000 camera, right?
let's talk to Sony about this. Sony,
No, that is literally the best
This
Sony camera,
is-
and it's still overheated.
this is an Alpha 1, Sony Alpha 1 8K camera. It is supposed to be professional level. I have it running at 4K, only 4K, Video feed, it has nothing else on it, right? And it's overheating. So my solution is to pull out these very expensive
$400 SD cards.
SD Super Express.
The tough cards.
This is what's causing the overheating. I'm convinced of it because they were super hot when I pulled them out. And it's running off a battery, so it's inexcusable. I mean, I could hot plug it in with a real dummy battery, but it's ridiculous, right? So we might have to deal with this, but we'll see. I dropped down to 1080p, and let's see if it works. Not like we've missed anything, right? You know, I just realized I'm as tall as you when we're sitting down. We should always be sitting down, because if we're standing up, I come up to his armpits. Okay, let's talk. Let's talk about, what was it, the Sony?
Well, we talked about the Sony.
Backlight Master Drive. Okay, so that
we
was
talked about that.
That was the LCD TV, and then the 8K is still 75-inch, 85-inch only, also backlight master drive. We believe it will be the brightest TV that Sony's ever made, brighter than last year, brighter than the year before. It has the full mini LED, 3,000 or over 3,000 nits of peak specular highlights is the expectation. Robert Zone will give us more details tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. Now, let's talk about the OLED. The Sony OLED, we are going to have 3 OLED models. We'll start with the lowest one. The A80K will get the new deuterium whatever from LG Display OLED, and they will all be brighter than they were last year. And same sizes, and if you need a deuterium version with a heatsink, then the Sony A90K will be the successor. This is the first time I've seen Sony release 2 OLED Master Series in succession 1 year after the next. So what improvements will you expect with the A90K? I would say minor improvements. What they did fix is the near black, apparently. So last year, the #1 complaint with all the Sonys is that the XR processor couldn't handle near blacks as well as LG. Sony addressed that with both the A80K and the A90K. So we'll see how well that goes against the LG series, OLED series, the C2 and the G2.
And there's some good LG TVs coming too, man.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about the C2. If you haven't heard the C2, oh wait, before we get any further, gaming. Guess
Is this a
any Sony TV, guess if they upgraded their MediaTek chip or not. Guess, ask the people.
You guys, so do you guys think
I have the answer, but before I give the answer, I want you guys to guess.
We're asking if we think that they upgraded their 2.1 chip
to the new MediaTek chip with 4 HDMI 2.1
I think
ports.
I know the answer to this too.
So
I don't know.
let's wait and see what our viewers think. Has Sony upgraded to the new MediaTek chip that gives 4 HDMI 2.1, 4K 120 gaming features?
And we're really delayed on this, so it takes like a minute for it to come up. And secondly, also make sure to smash the like button if you could, just because it'll go out to more people. So hook it up. We won't crush you with Manscaped sponsorships, but at least just like the video.
Please do.
So they said no. Most people said no. No, they didn't.
And the answer is correct. They did not. All the Sonys are still limited to 2 2.1 ports, although they're technically all 2.1 ports now. You saw that upgrade, right? HDMI organization refuses to recognize 2.0 anymore. Everything is 2.1, whether or not it supports the high bandwidth gaming features. So Sony is still limited to 2 high bandwidth ports, which tells me that it's still on the old MediaTek chip. That's my opinion. Now, it doesn't mean that their software isn't upgraded to take care of it, but I don't believe it's the new MediaTek chip because 2 ports for gaming.
Yeah. And now they got the 2.1A, the HDMI, so there's all kinds of confusion. It's okay.
Yeah, and are these 2.1A ports? Who knows, right? So that's the Sony.
And then you can go into LG and you got all kinds of positives there. I mean, it's I was pretty excited. I watched, if you have a chance, check out Digital Trends video. Caleb did a great job of introing some of the LG stuff, but my man FOMO here can lay it out too.
Let's start with the most exciting one, the LG G2 heatsink. And it's thinner than the Sony. And it's wall mount again, wall mount only. You need to buy a stand, but it's half the weight of G1.
The G1 was heavier.
half the
It was
weight.
a heavy TV.
Carbon fiber frame. They
Yeah.
completely updated the manufacturing to make it more installer friendly.
I want to know if the mount's different, but we'll not get
The mount is different.
Is it?
Because it's a lighter TV. Everything's changed to get it closer
They
to the
need
wall.
to have 4 points to attach the mount. So I want to see this mount.
They have
I'm gonna pull that TV off the wall over there.
So they have a special mount for the 97 inch. You heard about the 97 inch?
No, I heard it. Well, that's one thing you should tell. I mean, there's a 97-inch version, which is amazing.
And that's why they made it super light.
And there's an 83-inch
Yes, 83,
So there's
97,
83 and
55,
97.
65,
and 77, right? I think
And
there's a
77, yep,
So there's
yep.
basically every size,
in the G2.
and they have a. I don't know. Well, I'll show you. We'll try to get some footage, but when they don't have the 97 here, but they have an outline. They have the 83 up, and then they have the outline, and it's massive. It's
When I saw that
huge.
footage, I was like, I need to call Brandon and return the 83. And Brandon's
Yeah,
like,
we're
it's
like-
in my truck.
We're both gonna have to return our 83-inch Sonys so we can get a 97-inch TV.
And he could lift it, the 97 with one arm.
No,
it's that light, right? But so they had to make it. Well, a lot of people were complaining. What about installation? What about delivery? LG understood that issue and specifically addressed it with at least 40% lighter or something like that is what I'm hearing from Robert. And it'll be very installer friendly because it's light. So 2 people could easily handle it and just throw it on a wall. So the G2, heatsink, the brighter deuterium, this makes it
That's cool.
possibly better than the A90. Well, it is better than the A90J. The question is it better than the A90K? We'll find out at the shootout, but I was telling Robert, this is designed to beat the A90J, but Robert's like, but I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, there's an A90K.
Yeah, I mean,
That's exciting.
the thing, when I heard Caleb say that there was the C1, the C2, and the G2, you can see like how bright they are. So if you just go with like the C1 is pretty bright, and the C2 is brighter with the deuterium,
Deuterium?
and then you got the G2 brighter than that even. You
Right.
know, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool.
And all the C2s at 55 inch and above will get the new addition. Okay, so deuterium is in both last year and this year, but this year has more deuterium in the blue, which means that 55 inch and up on the C2 and the G2 will have the new additional deuterium panel, and the G2 will have the heatsink. I think the C2 will end up being a sweet spot. Oh, or actually, let's call it this way. This year's C2 is last year's G1. Does that make it easier?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
that's it.
That's,
So if you wanted to get the G1 last year, you can get it this year by getting the C2. Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
It's just not
It-
thin as the G2. That's it.
But we don't have the ability of putting the super chats on the screen, unfortunately, with this system, but we can address that.
Yeah, let's recognize them.
And one person had said that the C2 is not going to have. Okay, so Michael Nelson said the C2 won't have a heat shield.
Right. It
So-
won't have the heatsink, but we predicted that. We're saying
Yeah.
it's for the higher end.
Yeah, because you're going to crank the price up with that.
and
and
we saw the price never went down on the G1.
Right.
So screw the G1, get the C2.
And then the other thing, but it does have it on the G2, which is awesome. And TechMed Rayner said, "Hey guys, have fun in Vegas. Excited about all the new TV news. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it."
Hey.
And then I think that was it. You need to just double check, but I think that was it.
All
I just
right.
wanted to, and there's some other questions.
Yeah, let's get some questions.
Can you pop it up on yours or no? I don't know.
Nah,
Oh, here we go.
we
How
can't
we start
pop
this
it up.
one? Do you know if the A90J 65 and 55 is going to be still sold? I mean, I think that would be sold, right?
Sold? Yes. It will be sold concurrently until stock is sold out. But as you guys saw, the A9G from 2019 is still overpriced, right? The A9G is more expensive than the A80J, and everyone will tell you, including Robert, get the A80J, don't get the A9G unless you want that Master Series label. And the same with the A90J. The A90J will still be sold until they sell out the inventory, but the reality is the A90K will be obviously the better Master Series. I don't think they'll raise the prices. They'll probably be the same price, so the A90J is going to drop a little bit in price. I don't know how much though. But if you're in the market for a G1 last year, the C2 is that G1 you wanted, but at C2 pricing. So keep that in mind, because if you notice, LG G1 continued to be sold at a very high price near the end. So coming into 2022, depending on the discount of the G1 or the C2, you can make your choice which one you want, but essentially they're very similar. as far as the actual image quality is concerned.
And then one more person, they will, I don't know if you addressed it, but they will have the full 48 gigabit per second HDMI. Yeah, so it will be
48
full.
or 40. So I don't know. We'll have to ask Robert if it's 48. Because
it sounded like Caleb had said it's full 48.
Okay.
On all four.
Okay.
And then I gotta go grab a tissue quick, but next question was Samsung OLED, so you might want to talk about that.
Okay, so let's. We should have not left Sony, the Sony QD OLED. So the A95K will be the Sony QD OLED, but two things you guys need to know. It won't be launching until the end of the year. We're talking December 2022. So 11 months from now, we're going to hear announcement, launch at December, maybe release date in January. And Samsung has made no mention of QD OLED. So it's interesting that Sony already has a model number, and we can talk about it. But the QD OLED, we're talking about the Sony QD OLED. Sony QD OLED is the A95K, but it won't launch until December of this year, so another 11 months or so. Whereas Samsung made no mention of QD OLED at all. The theory is Samsung already won the Innovation Award. Like, well, hell, we don't need to do a QD OLED right now. Why don't we save it for a fall excitement reveal? So Samsung is not even talking QD OLED at all at CES. And as far as Sony is concerned, it's unofficially going to be launched at the end of the year. So Robert will give us more details, but that's exciting too. What do you think? If the A95K, which is the QD OLED Sony, costs the same as a 7 or 83-inch A90J,
I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to see some of these TVs. It's just a lot of new info, a lot of new stuff.
Totally.
I'm excited for it, so we'll have to see. You know.
And that also brings one thing. The A83, the A90J does not come in a 77-inch this year either. So the A90K is still limited to 55, 65, and 83.
That's good to know.
Yep, so if you're in the market for a 77-inch that has the heatsink, you have to go with the G2. So the only 77-inch TV OLED with a heatsink in the USA, I don't know if Panasonic will have a 77-inch with a heatsink, but for sure the G2 will be all sizes with the heatsink. So for those who need the 77-inch or budgeted only for a 77 with a heatsink, and Sony doesn't have it, guess what? You have yourself a 97-inch heatsink or a 77-inch exclusive to the LG G2. And I'm pretty excited about this year's shootout, man. I'm thinking.
Yeah, it'll be pretty crazy. Although it's funny, by the time it happens, we're almost to the point where we all feel pretty comfortable with the different TVs. Mm-hmm. There was a little bit of like, will the G1 or the A90J be better? But they were pretty close anyways. I think they're both great TVs, to be honest. I thought all four OLEDs were fantastic this year. I actually am going to get a chance. I'm reviewing and installing an 85-inch Q90A.
Oh.
So a buddy of mine that I've been doing this big project for, he got his A90J, QN90A.
How large?
85.
85. And that has all the dimming zones and everything too.
So it should be fun. I'll be able to get some good footage, get the new camera up, get the new cam, get some good footage.
And you can make a determination whether you were prematurely making a decision. But then again, remember, it was early in the year without all the firmware updates, because as we talked about, different TV.
Yeah, but my problem is that I'll be looking for the dirty screen like immediately. That's my problem. I just can't appreciate something. By the way, my hotel room's TV is awful, terrible.
The first thing
good
you did.
install though. Hey, it's a good install. It's on the wall. I was pretty impressed. But the cord management was pretty bad. It's just got the cords hanging down. So, what are you gonna do?
Leave it to reviewers to check out the dirty screen on a hotel TV.
Dirty,
I love it.
Dirty screen, decent. It was level. The TV's level.
What brand?
It's an LG. An LG LCD. So dirty screen, not very bright.
Right.
Whatever. What are you gonna do?
Oh, and a lot of people were asking mid-tier TVs from Sony. The A90 or X90J carries over as the X90K. No mini LED for the mid-tier.
Really?
Mini LED starts at the X95K. So if you guys are looking for a budget mini LED from Sony, it's going to be the X95K, 4K, backlight master drive. I just have to say that over and over. It's resurrected, and yeah, I was wrong. I thought it was dead. I thought it was buried, but Sony, I love it when you prove me wrong. I love it.
So they said that the A90K Classy said it's not an A90J replacement. It's like an A9S. he said 42 and 48 inch. So I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. And you might be right, Classy, because when I talked to Robert, he was unclear about the sizes. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that's correct then that means the A90J, if that's the only Master Series OLED in the 65 and 83 and 55 inch size, LG G2 is going to kill it.
Because there won't be anything. Yeah, it'll be the same versus the newer version.
Okay. So thanks for that, Classy. That's excellent. That's excellent. But backlight master drive. I know Classy's excited for backlight master drive.
Sounds like Ninjician is too. I saw Matt was on there. So what's up, guys? What's up, everybody?
Hey.
How's it going? I see Brad is in here. He got the second place guy on our fantasy football team.
Hey.
I mean,
let's talk about
I'm
fantasy
kidding.
football. Let's take a quick fantasy break. Who won? Who lost? What happened?
So I ended up winning the playoffs by a squeaker. So in the semifinal game, I beat Mark, who is Cyborg GT.
Mm-hmm.
I beat him by 0.6 points.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
And
I
then,
love that.
And then in the finals, I beat Brad by 2. And he had a kicker score 17 points to make it he almost won with the kicker at the end. It was pretty close.
So this is a real playoff. There was it wasn't like Alabama playing everybody else.
No, this was serious. I mean, Big Al unfortunately lost his game to Brad in a super high shootout. And Brad had basically the entire Dallas Cowboys team playing when they routed a team, so he scored like 160 points. So it was pretty awesome. Brad came on strong. ILR, HDR, or whatever. He came on. So we're gonna try to get some prizes out to the guys that won, some box set. So you guys don't want us to try to ship you a TV. It's impossible. Nobody wants my broken, Vizio TV. So movies will be awesome. Thank you guys for playing. It was awesome. We'll do it next year. So that's basically all I wanted to say about it.
Maybe we'll send them some CES swag.
Yeah, there you go. You can get a FOMO mug. That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Send a FOMO mug. I'll send that out. And
I'm gonna have to go blow my nose.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I forgot my mask, so you gotta take it away.
All right, okay, guys. So let's let's summarize the Sony lineup after Classy's quick update. So the A90K ends up being the Master Series edition for the smaller sizes. If the Sony A90J Master Series won't be replaced, then what you have is they are going against the updated G Series, the LG G2, which will have the full heatsink all the way up to 97 inches. My expectation is this year, again, prediction, but I think the G2 will take this shootout. But what I'm really interested in is whether this new Samsung QN90B versus the backlight master drive X95K, which will be at the shootout, if those two can handle it, HDR impact, this will be interesting, because I'm very curious to see how deep and how dark, or how deep the blacks can be on an LCD TV with Sony XR and hundreds of dimming zones, up to 75, 85 inches, right? 65, 75, 85 inches. I think that's a game changer for many people who are in a bright room and they need that extra brightness, and this is cheaper than an OLED for many people. So I think this will definitely put Sony on the map again, and this year on the LCD TVs. So it's kind of cool that Sony kind of sandbagged the backlight master drive for a few years, and suddenly out of the blue it's out there, right? So it's kind of cool. So let's check out some comments real quick here. So my expectation as far as black levels, because you guys are talking about that, whatever Sony did with the black levels this year actually was phenomenal. The only issue is that it's not the black levels, it's the amount of blooming when you have a bright area in the black levels, or there is a certain degree of lifted blacks in the mixed scenes with the same number of dimming zones. And I'm going to say close to what Samsung is doing, because you guys all know that who's supplying a lot of these backlight panels with dimming zones and mini LED, same suppliers that Samsung's using, Sony's also using. So most likely they will have the same number of dimming zones. So imagine Sony XR processing with the same number of dimming zones and the same mini LED technology versus Samsung. When it comes down to processing, my bet is on Sony. But again, all speculation. We'll have to see how it goes when we get the TVs. I've already told Robert put me on the list, get me the X95K so I could compare it to last year's QN90A, and then when it launches, when the QN90B launches in April, we could bring that in. But let's see. Robert will give us an update on when the official launch for the X95K will be, but definitely it will be in the spring. The question is when. So we'll get some details on that. And pricing we won't have yet until maybe a few weeks later. Well, from now, a few weeks from now, we'll get some pricing. No pricing was announced at CES, but you guys could guess, right? If it's a successor to last year's TV, at worst, it's the same price. At best, a couple $100 cheaper. So just keep that in mind. How you doing, man? You okay?
Dude, for some reason I got a tickle in my nose, man. I can't stop sneezing, but I'm good. The mask killed me. Like having the mask on and breathing, and it starts to tickle my nose, makes me sneeze.
You heard those bogus Malaysian masks, right? They were using recycled masks and selling them to like Walmart or whatever. Walmart didn't know. Started selling them as new, and it's just bad news all around.
Yeah, no bueno.
No bueno.
So how are we doing?
I was just going over what my expectations are on the X95K at a shootout versus the Samsung QN90 series.
Oh, that's going to be great.
With the same number of dimming zones. Could be a game changer for Sony at the end.
Like with the Dolby Vision on Sony, and I just like that. I guess both the operating systems are good. Like I'm good with that. But, you know, the dirty screen problems and just on the Samsung, it kind of just makes me a little nervous every time we buy a Samsung TV. So,
you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
It's like a Samsung with less dirty screen.
Yeah,
That's
hopefully.
Right?
I mean, it's not like the Sonys don't ever have, you know, dirty screen, but I was on the screen. My bad, guys. I was trying to check for some.
That's all right. It makes it all real.
Nose hair. I was looking for my Flonase. I thought maybe that would help, but I didn't bring it with. I'm like Bubble Boy. I got all my medicines at home.
Was it allergies? Allergies?
Yeah.
Vegas allergies?
I mean, I used it before I left, but man, it gets dry, you know, that kind of thing. So.
All right.
Anyways.
Any questions?
Yeah, let's see what we got for questions. Take on Hisense Trichroma Laser. What do you think about that?
I want to see it in person. So
we haven't seen a lot of stuff yet.
Once the booth's open, we'll be at Hisense.
Yeah.
So we'll check out Hisense tomorrow, day after, whatever.
Should we tell them that we're going to see Samsung? We're going to get the first look. We're going to be able to. We're going with digital. Well, Kayla. We're going with some people. You know, Kayla from Digital Trends and us are going to go check out Samsung's first look. We're going to see like all the new tech in Samsung. Oh, but not QD OLED.
There you go.
Not QD OLED.
But not QD OLED.
So that's a bummer. He was pissed.
There are many theories as to why QD OLED was not announced, and right now the prevailing theory is since Samsung may have already taken home the Innovation Award for TVs or whatever, or someone else has already taken it home, why should we release QD OLED? Let's just hold on to it for another reveal in the fall. And given the supply chain and last minute adjustments for manufacturing, whatever, if Sony is releasing QD OLED at the end of the year, Samsung probably will as well. Most likely Samsung will release maybe a month before Sony, and then Sony will release, and then these will be 2023 TV models, very much like the late fall releases from Sony.
So we'll have some early stuff going on next year, huh? I mean, it'll be like crazy all the way through.
Wait.
Imagine if we had brand new TVs dropping right now, like right now, you know?
Well, it did drop, the TCL OD0.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's for sale, but it's
Is it like $10,000 for a TCL? I don't know.
Not to bag on TCL.
No,
I mean, come on, $10,000.
I mean, I got the 85-inch XL TV, and I was like not impressed. So I'm hoping to be more impressed with this, but it's still expensive. And I mean, would you guys buy a $10,000 TCL when you can buy, you know, you could buy a 85-inch QN90A for like $5,500 right now, you know?
Or the 85-inch X95K.
Yeah.
Backlight master drive for under $4,000.
Right. So there's.
I predict the pricing will be at under $4,000 or $4,000 at worst.
The TCL that's a Google TV, right? It's not Roku. I mean, because I know the one that I have was a Roku TV, and I was like, eesh.
I believe this new one is a Google TV.
It has to be. It has to be. I mean, just clunking around in that Roku menu for for a TV that's $3,000 or more is ridiculous.
Well, Roku, you can't calibrate it properly. That's why they went.
You can't even get into. It's just hard to get in even to the menus. I'm not a big fan of it. But anyways.
Well, let me hear from you guys. How many of you are excited to hear about an affordable backlight master drive being reintroduced from Sony with mini LED and hundreds of dimming zones. Does this change your buying plans in 2022? Because I know we recommended a lot of people who had maybe the X900H and we told them, wait, don't upgrade, it's already a good TV.
Yeah.
Would this make the upgrade necessary? And I'm gonna have to say yes. Going from an X900H to a X95K, now we're talking a real upgrade in brightness and black levels and just cinema movies, right? We're not talking gaming or anything like that. Streaming, they have the best upscaling, they have the best motion. This is, I think, Sony's LCD TV to end LCD TVs, and they're going to be just repurposing this model for a while because it's a winner in my book.
Yeah, we got a comment here that LG didn't come to Vegas. They're here though, aren't they?
They're here.
Yeah, gotta go.
Now, I don't know about their booth though, but they're physically here.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that comment was. Let's see. Yeah, there's not a ton. Ask questions, feel free, guys.
Ask questions, man.
What else? What other tech are you interested in? We were talking about
electric vehicles.
There you go.
So this is also a launch of a few electric vehicle technology companies. Now, GM pulled out, I think, but there's a couple of new companies. One of them is VinFast. I want to check it out. I'll be checking out VinFast tomorrow. They'll be launching in the U.S. 2 all-electric SUVs, a smaller one and a larger 7-seater, so we'll see how that plays out. I think Tesla's in trouble this year. When I say in trouble, I mean you're getting competition from legit car companies like Hyundai, the Ioniq 5. Early reviews already has it beating the Tesla, both in terms of pricing and performance as it relates to EV technology. We're talking about the distance is pretty good, the power delivery is good enough, but the interior is definitely better, and it's a Hyundai. So I'm just thinking, wow, when Hyundai releases a Genesis version of the Ioniq 5 that's priced to go head-to-head with the Tesla X, Model X, that's when Tesla's gonna go, ooh, we're hitting the big boys, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of competition.
It's a game changer.
Someone did say, do you think that the C2 will it be lighter than the C1? I know they have a little smaller bezel, right?
Yes, the bezel is a little bit lighter. The panel itself from LG Display is lighter, so the answer is yes. It will be lighter. How much lighter, we don't know, but the G2 will be a lot lighter than the G1. We're talking like 40% at least lighter, so yeah, that's significant.
There's some heft to that TV. It's heavy.
Yeah, and with a heatsink, it's lighter with the heatsink.
With the heatsink.
That's insane.
I'm not sure. Sonos Arc upgrade, I'm not sure about anything like that. I mean, I don't even know if Sonos is here, but do you know if Sonos is going to be? This is a media day today, so first of all, did we talk to them about this? Did you say anything?
No.
So I was at the hotel, basically trying to get ready, and FOMO calls me up and tells it that they gave us this media booth.
Yes.
Like there's media booths on the regular level that you have to wear a mask, and you know, there's a bunch of them. I can see them. There's tons of them over there. We got the top. This is the top broadcast booth for all of CES in this Venetian hotel. So we are up above, like we can see down on all of the different exhibits below. So I feel pretty cool that we have this awesome, all thanks to FOMO.
Well, because we're considered broadcasters, not just media.
Yeah.
Because media includes newspapers and publications.
So I wonder if you just said because we were going to live stream. Is that what you said? We were trying to live?
I just said, hey, you know, I need to do an interview, and I'm going to be live streaming my interviews, and I need to get a room. She's like, oh, why don't you just take our platform up there? Yeah. You can have it for the day.
And she said we can have it for the week if you want.
Yeah. Because no one knew this existed.
Yeah, I think there's not as many people as they expect, but you know, there's a lot of people setting up down here, so there'll still be cool things. So that's pretty awesome.
What I can do is show them. Focus.
Yeah. I can get out of the way if you want. We'll let you guys see the behind us there. You can zoom in a little on. A lot of these companies are the smaller companies, like newer companies here. We are going to that Samsung event over at Caesars later, so we'll be at Caesars. Dropped a stun. I want to know, Mustafa, what is a stun grenade on everyone? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that yet. Oh, look at the nice B-roll. Oh, don't yank the microphone off. What, are we good? Oh, we're good. He's gonna yank my FX3 right off the table. That wouldn't be good. I forgot, I didn't bring a tripod because I flew here, so I can't bring everything. Has Sony deserted the X900H?
Yes.
More or less, dude. I mean, it's almost 2 years old now. A year and a half. What will be the price of the A95K? Well, same as the X95J, FOMO says, is his prediction. That wouldn't be too bad. Look at him cranking it down, cranking it down. This is what you have to bring to, I think I showed you guys on Instagram, but here's my camera that I'm taking around with me right here. The FX3, this is my new camera here that I love it. It's awesome. Still have to learn how to use it.
and my overheating beast. So let's get into my camera overheating. So if you guys missed it and you caught earlier part, we had about 3 minutes where we had no video, no audio because my Sony Alpha 1, their 8K, $5,000 top of the line camera for professionals apparently is not for video live streaming at CES. So needless to say, I'm not happy. So wait, what's your setup, whatnot? My setup was 4K.
Oh, it's turning on us. Did it turn? No, it's good.
We're good,
You
right?
moved it back. Sorry, my bad. This is delayed. Sorry, I ruined his train of thought.
No, that's all right. Part of the reason why it overheated is I had these plugged in. These are the CF Express Type A's. They get really hot, and I'm not recording to it. I'm going live stream direct. There is nothing around the camera that would cause it to overheat other than the camera itself generating a 4K 60 live stream. So I dropped the resolution and bitrate down to 1080p to make sure there's not too much bitrate causing this issue. And so far so good, but it's unacceptable that I cannot run 4K 60 live stream and not have it overheat. It's unacceptable on a camera that's supposed to be a professional level. So needless to say, I'm going to have to replace this camera with a real FX3 that has a real fan and heatsink in it. This is just not designed to live stream, despite the price.
But it's so weird because like my crop sensor camera, like it's not doing any work when it's on. It's just on.
Right.
So why would it be overheating? It's so weird.
It's streaming directly to a YOLO box live.
But you do have some connections. You don't have power connected to it though.
No, it's running off a battery. No,
right.
It's the battery.
So it's a battery.
Causing it an issue. Should I bring my dummy battery? But
nah, I think
it's a pro level camera.
It can,
right?
yeah. But it's not made specifically for video though. Like Sony
claims it is.
Well, I know, but yeah. I mean, even the A7S3 and all that heats. This one, the FX3 has the heat sink on it, and the fan, but we'll see. I mean, I've seen this one can go 45 or an hour, but then on like 4K 60, but then it'll shut down too. So
good. Is that super chat?
Robert Ramsey, should I upgrade from a Z9J to a Z9K?
Okay, Robert. Clearly, you have money. I would say absolutely. Mostly because you're getting a mini LED, you're getting officially a backlight master drive, you're getting more dimming zones than you did, and you're getting a significantly brighter TV. When I say significantly, last year's peak specular highlights or peak brightness was above 2,000. We're expecting closer to 3,000 this time, possibly above 3,000. This is the brightest TV, brighter than the Z9G, which was extremely bright, and that was the last time they had backlight master drive. So we're having it back with mini LED, and again, if you could find room for your Z9J, put it there and bring this monstrosity in because your black levels will be better. Blooming will definitely be better controlled with mini LED. And it's 8K, so that means that you're gonna have to deal with a bit of the 8K issues, which means a lot of heat, a lot of thermal energy management. But short of that though, this should be a great Master Series 8K TV.
Pretty cool. People are laughing at me because I'm sniffling so much. I don't know. I'm literally just getting like, I'm having a hard time. I was fine all day. I'm fine. We all got tested after our vacation. We all tested negative. Tested here. But yeah, I gotta go get some more Kleenex. So you're gonna have to keep going.
That's
here,
all right.
Man.
Let's
You
make a
good?
run.
Can you see stuff?
I could see.
All
right, here. Let's see what we got here. Did anyone talk about to LG about the newer black issues, Black Crush? So IRL, good question. Now, you're talking about gaming because in cinema and movie mode, there is no near black issues with LG. Sony is the one with the near black issues. So if it's game mode, the answer is we're not going to know until we actually play those games. LG does not talk about near black issues in game mode just because it's a moving target. So let me know what you're referring to, IRL, because I was under the impression, having seen the G1, near black is not an issue on the OLED from G1 or from LG. Hey, CM81, you have the 83-inch A90J. Is there a better version of this TV announced? No. The 83-inch A90J carries over, doesn't change, same model. But if you think the 97-inch G2 is the better version, I would say yes, with a calibrator, right? So once calibrated, the G series is pretty much identical to the A90J. The critical point being you need calibration, whereas the A90J out of the box is nearly calibrated in terms of color accuracy. So if you're planning to pay that much for a 97-inch G2 and you're going to get it calibrated for a few $100s, I'd go with a 97-inch G2 because essentially that's the A90J, if not better. It will definitely have better near blacks. It will get as bright, if not brighter. I expect better blooming, not better blooming, better ABL. The automatic brightness level, automatic brightness limiter. The ABL on the G2 will be better and less aggressive than the A90J because that's what the G2 does, and of course gaming. But as far as movie watching, it'll be phenomenal. Now, whether its motion and upscaling will be better than the Sony remains to be seen, but it hasn't been bad, right? So if you're okay with LG's motion and upscaling, G2 is more of the same, maybe slightly better. So good question there. Rick, I can't stand any OLED crush unless Classy calibrate. Then it's fixed. Classy. Yeah, he is now a calibrator. Call him in. And Ryan, you don't think we'll ever be given the number of dimming zones, and it's not a problem. We always end up counting it, so when it comes in, we'll count it. You guys will get the exact count of dimming zones from Sony, but essentially I expect it to be very similar to Samsung, same supplier, and it just sucks that Sony used such an old school supplier for the last few years that their dimming zones never broke 100. That's just ridiculous, but now, quote unquote, Sony says hundreds and hundreds of dimming zones and thousands of mini LEDs in the backlight, right? So that's good enough for me. What else? What do we got?
I'm not sure where you left off there.
Talking dimming zones, we will never get a count. Yeah, you're caught up now.
Cool. What's the price on the LG G297? What do you think about that?
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Here's my
I didn't think
prediction.
about that.
Here's my prediction, and I cannot say where it came from, but I'll tell you right now, it is the G297-inch will be between $15,000 on the low end and $20,000 on the high end.
Damn.
Final pricing will not be official until the time comes. What determines final pricing is always supply chain, interest, how much it's really costing them to make it. But I'm telling you right now, target 20,000 worst case, best case just above 15, somewhere in between those two. I mean, if you're that price anyway, just target $19,000, right? That's a car, my friend.
I'd definitely have to sell my 83-inch to get that.
Well, even between mine and yours, we couldn't get the 97-inch, right?
Yeah. Now FOMO wants me to sell his 83-inch, get the money, and then buy the 97. Do you have room for a 97 in that room?
I do, but I remembered I only sit 8 to 9 feet away, so I don't.
It'd be like being in an IMAX theater.
Yeah.
It'd be
Just
awesome.
flip it
I mean, that would be
vertical, right?
awesome. Wait, question is probably a no. The G2's not going to have any like acoustic speakers or anything, are they?
The glass speaker, you know what? I don't know. We'll have to ask Robert.
That's interesting because, man, that is a really good benefit. I mean, most people will have their own home theater.
Last year they had it, so this year they'll carry it over.
They had it on the G2?
I thought so.
I don't think. They had speakers on the bottom.
I didn't have the G1 this year, so I don't know.
I know they had speakers on the bottom. It sounded decent, but it wasn't as good as the G2. Well, I mean, technically ratings said that the G2 sounded right up there because it did, how they measured it. I felt like the sound comes out at you nicely on the Sonys. I would love to see that on all OLEDs if it's possible. But I imagine anyone that has a $20,000 TV could afford a 5.1 or something.
And Matt Ninjishan brings up a good point. So both of our TVs are calibrated by Matt, the 83-inch. So there's a premium to that, and maybe Matt should have signed it, right? The Ninjishan signed calibrated TVs.
Nice.
No, I'm not going. I'm still going to keep it because I keep on forgetting. I sit only 8 to 9 feet away. Now, technically speaking, at 8, 9, or 10 feet, the 97-inch would just barely fit. I would feel more comfortable if I was 10 feet away from the 97-inch. So right now, my reference for perfect distance is every, let's say 77-inch, 7 to 8 feet, 83-inch, 8 to 9 feet, 97-inch, 10 feet and above, you're good to go. That's if you're shopping for an OLED. That will maximize immersion without turning your head and you don't feel dizzy. But for some people, that's too large. What are your thoughts on when is it too large for you? I'm greedy, so.
I don't think ever, man. But I mean, like, I thought I was sitting like 14 feet away at mine. We're actually only sitting like 10 to 11 feet away. But the problem is my wall is just massive. So there's more than just, I mean, I know that there's angles into that, and you know, like TCL XL series, they want you to sit closer than THX, you know.
Right.
But then it's also like what you have on walls and what other things you have in the room. Because if you have 8-foot ceilings, it looks different than if you have vaulted ceilings.
Yes.
And if you have a stand underneath it, it can look a little different when you raise the TV up a little. So, I mean, the 90s, I tell you what, I can fit the 97-inch in my living room right now. I don't know, I can't afford it, but if I got a discount on it, yeah, you know.
Well, you know, Sony's down the street. At least maybe they'll give you a review.
Yeah.
Oh no, Sony doesn't do 97.
No, but I'm figuring out where LG is, and I'm gonna talk to them. Because
He's gonna get hooked up.
If anybody wants, you know, I think Digital Trends, I think Caleb's gonna get that. But who else is gonna, you know, unbox and install a 97-inch OLED?
I put it back, right?
I mean, LG might as well give me one and let me do it. It'll be fun.
Hey, in return for 97-inch, if they make you say sponsored by LG, all day long, come on, not a problem. But the reality is, if you could only afford a non-OLED, so let's talk about the 97-inch non-OLED TVs. TCL is announcing a 97-inch LCD TV, and today's the 4th, so the embargo's lifted. We can talk about that. 97-inch. So imagine 6 series. I know, right? They're gonna throw me out the door. So TCL 90. You know, now the cat's out of the bag. TCL 97-inch non-mini LED. So this is their. Imagine the 6 series from 2019 at a 97-inch size. So that brings a good question. That XL series that you were not impressed with. What if it was 97 inches?
I'd be even more pissed. Like, are you serious? It was, I mean, I was sitting in front of it and I could look up there and see like blooming in the corners because of like the, you know, no.
Oh, okay. You know,
I want nothing to do with that
you know
TV.
What's going to happen? They're going to call you. Hey, you did such a good
Brandon,
job.
yeah, come get
back.
this 97-inch TV. You can drive a semi home with it, you know?
You heard it here first. TCL, if you're listening, Brandon is not interested.
I don't want it.
But it is an XL series, 97-inch.
I will take an LG 97. But, you know, to your point, if I had a choice, like I actually have been eyeing up the 98-inch Samsung QN90A.
That's 15,000.
Because that's like 15. Probably get a little discount on it.
It is a 2021 model. It's 22. So let's talk.
Maybe it's a good TV in general, and I mean, I had a little issue with some of the highlights being a little bit crushed, you know, dampened due to the aggressive dimming. But that's why I thought that 100-inch Sony looked awesome. It was so bright.
But it's what, 4 inches thick?
I mean,
almost 4 inches
you got to
thick?
hang on the wall or whatever. I think you have to get like a professional crew to come in and hang that TV.
Well,
but
it's either 20,000 for that, or 15,000 for the QN90A, or probably 6, 7, 8,000 for the TCL. I'm not happy 97-inch TV. But this brings up a great point for people who have a $10,000 budget. Let's just say you got $10,000. What do you want to buy, right? I would say get the best 97-inch TV that's out there. We're going to throw TCL out, and that leaves behind a discounted QN90A 97-inch. Samsung is known for heavily discounting its year-old TVs until it's gone. So this will be a 2022 year on a 2021 model. Keep your eye out for the QN90A. 15,000 MSRP may drop to 11,000, 12,000. Now, does that make it something you would consider at that price?
I always consider it, man. You know, like, yeah, definitely. But it's just, are you talking about the
Q98, 97 inch?
Yeah, yeah.
98 inch. Right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just have that, I have the FOMO, you know, just getting a dirty screen or whatever.
You know, that's a good point. How about the dirty screen?
I just don't, I mean, I know, like, I don't even want to take back a TV that big. So a consumer, like, really doesn't want to take. So you better just know you may or may not have a little bit of dirty screen, you're going to live with it, because you're not taking back a 98-inch TV.
So let's talk about dirty screen. If you guys don't know, I had a dirty screen video up, and the conclusion is OLED generally has less dirty screen than LCD. So if you were to randomly pick an 85-inch and an 83-inch, or a 77-inch and a 75-inch, OLED versus LCD, more often than not, the OLED will be consistently better, and we're talking a lot better in terms of dirty screen. Yes, you have the occasional bad OLED dirty screen, but more often than not, the LCD will have a dirtier screen. The best LCD without dirty screen is still not as good as the best OLED without dirty screen. And the worst LCD is just absolutely unbearable. So if you guys are shopping for large size TVs, consider getting the OLED mostly because of the dirty screen. It has nothing to do with the actual image quality. You know, calibration's not gonna help. So that's something that many reviewers, including myself, are concluding is that it sucks that you can't recommend a 75-inch knowing they're going to come home and have a dirty screen and have to go through swapping before they even get to the picture quality. What's your experience with dirty screen, non-OLED? Have you had issues with that?
I mean, it's the same thing. It's like you back it, you know, even just the last year, the Q80T, like I used to get a lot. It's like, it seems like the Samsungs with that like anti-reflective coating layer seem to have a little bit more of an issue with it, you know, or maybe just all of the TVs that have that. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I can't unsee it, and especially when you're panning and you know you're watching like a beautiful movie and it's like panning left and right, or a game where it's going, you know, like a racing game. Right. It's just it's one of those things for me that I have to look at it first when I review TVs, because it's one of those things that you can't change and it can be better. So I'm not gonna stick with that.
I think Brad has a good question there. 85-inch QN900A, which is an 8K TV, versus the 85-inch QN90B, the 2022 update. So a couple of things to consider, Brad. I haven't gotten any confirmation from Samsung or Robert whether the QN90B will be an ADS panel or a VA panel. That makes a huge difference. I'm going to assume it's still a VA panel. If it is still a VA panel, I would take the QN90B over the 900A.
Ooh.
All day long, mostly because you're paying way too much for 8K, but there are too many compromises with 8K, and we're talking physics, right? Not like Samsung intentionally is holding back anything, but when you're putting out 8K resolution, you're going to have to overcome physics. Pixel density is physics. That means it's less bright. So you're going to have to push out a lot more heat to get it brighter, and at the end of the day, the QN90B, it's a shorter path from A to Z, which is the best picture quality possible. Unless you sit really close, you're not going to notice the 8K difference. Now, I understand specular highlights might be a little bit better on the QN900A, but the QN90B is just going to be easier overall to make look good. The big question is whether the 900A will have better binning, less dirty screen effect because it's more expensive. That I don't know, but if it has less of a DSC issue, then I get the QN900A just for that. But if that's not the case, I'd stick with the QN90B. I don't like 8K yet. What are your thoughts on 8K?
I don't know, man. I just like the TV. I like the QN900A in general. I thought it was cool. It looked good. You
got a chance to see it.
Well,
right?
we got the 4 just at the thing.
Right.
But I mean, at the shootout.
Shootout.
I mean, who knows what other things will be upgraded in the new TV? Could it, you know, better Tizen? Maybe you can do an easier split screen. I don't know.
Wait. You saw the new feature? I don't know if you talked about it yet.
I haven't.
So it's so funny. This new Samsung TVs, I think their top 3 models, you can shop for NFTs on your TV.
Seriously?
Digital art NFT. You can shop for it, buy it, and show it off. I'm like, no. This is not happening. But I have to say, Samsung, you're ahead of the curve. I did not expect any TV company to come out with an NFT display feature that you could shop, buy, and display.
Oh, I remember what you're talking. Yeah.
Right?
Well, I
That's
knew about the
crazy.
display part. So you could do that in the Samsung frame. That'll be interesting.
I bet you that's what you can do. And
The
they
Samsung
have,
frame's supposed to be cooler this year. They're supposed to be like getting some better panels for that too.
and it's an 85-inch now. You can get an 85-inch Samsung frame. So for those of you who want to just have a display, an installation, a visual art installation for your NFT, your crazy ape that costs you $20,000,
or
Right?
your $2.4 million yacht in your metaverse. I don't know.
right? You can display it on your El Cheapo frame, right? That's only a couple $1,000s, an 85-inch size.
Insane.
It actually looks pretty good. I've been to 2 houses where they had just art. I didn't even know it was the frame. I actually thought it was art.
It looks
I was
pretty good.
impressed.
Art.
So
Excuse me.
I have to say, for movie watching, whatever, I wouldn't take the frame, but for art, just static image, high resolution, you know what? I'm behind it. I like the frame. What questions we got here? Hey, ask questions, guys. We're here to talk to you.
This is my new hat. They said, "Where's the bee hat?" And a couple people like this hat. It's a pretty cool hat. I got it, and you can't get it to focus because our heads are in their faces.
Hi.
I got this. I don't even know if there's going to be a baseball season, but I got it. I like it. I got it in Wisconsin. And the other question, Rick Shaheen thinks I'm sick. No, I think I have like a nose hair poking me, and it won't stop because I have no, it's just in this right nostril, but it's making me like my eye twitch because it's like getting me, it's like hitting that spot, and I was perfectly fine. So no, I'm not sick. I'm perfectly healthy.
And on tomorrow's live stream, if I have the sniffles and I have the itchy nose, then we know it's not.
I'll get a piece. No, I haven't been exposed. I literally go nowhere. Like I'm just at home hanging out. But when we went on vacation, we all had to get tested. For the kids, have to get tested like 3 times before they went back to school. So.
I had to get tested before I left. I got tested again. I mean, we're testing all day long, so it's.
And I didn't test to come in here, but I have triple vaccinated and all that kind of stuff. So whatever, we're good.
You're only on triple. I thought we're on quadruple.
We're gonna be, but man, listen. They can keep poking me with microchips. I'm good. Wait, I better be careful.
Right,
I'm gonna get banned from YouTube. It's just a joke. Just a joke, man.
Yeah. No poking here. What questions we got here? And no poking's not a euphemism.
Yeah. Many wait for the season. I think the LG is going to have a good year. I mean, with Samsung not coming out with a new Master Series because they don't do that. Typically don't do that.
Sony.
Right.
Right.
LG is going to get a lot of love this year in OLEDs.
Right.
I mean, they're going to get a lot of love. Their TVs are always. I always say they're really good. I mean, they're pretty darn close.
For those who just joined us, quick update. These are the highlights. Sony backlight master drive on their 8K LCD TVs, full mini LED, hundreds and hundreds of dimming zones, 3000 nits peak brightness. That's what's out there. And then for their 4K, the X95J last year will be upgraded to the X95K, also full backlight master drive, mini LED, hundreds and hundreds of dimming zones, brighter. It was designed to take on the Samsung QN90B. I am so excited to hear that. But it starts at 65 inches, so keep that in mind. But it goes 65, 75, 85 inch. Now the G2 designed to beat the A90J, and I think it will. So the A90J from Sony, the Master Series OLED carries over to this year unchanged. They're adding smaller sizes, calling it the A90K. Thank you, Classy, for that. The G2 though will come in all sizes. Get this, 55 inch, 77 inch, 83 inch, and 97 inches, and it's going to be lighter. This thing is going to be phenomenal. The G2 will have a heatsink. It will have the latest panel. Also, all the Sonys will be using the latest panels as well. Question is whether the A90J will be using the latest deuterium panel. I don't know, because I do know that the A80K will update their XR chip to use the latest panel. So, how good is the A80K going to be? Maybe that ends up being the recommendation over the A90J. We'll see. But the A80K from Sony doesn't have a heatsink. The G2 at 83 inches versus the A90J at 83 inches, that's going to be a big question. We'll see at the shootout who wins. That's exciting. But at 97 inches OLED, predicted pricing will be over $15,000. Some are saying over 20, but I don't think it will be over 20. I think it'll be maybe just under 20. We'll see. Supply chains being what it is, who knows, right? What questions?
Here's a good one. What do you think the Alpha 9 Gen 5 LG processor will be better than the Sony's XR?
So LG always says it's better, but
then we see the results, and it typically is not quite as good, but I don't know.
Okay, so let's see where Sony is better consistently is upscaling and motion. Can the new next gen compete in upscaling and motion? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see it, but it's very close, right? It is not a reason why I would choose the G2 over the A90J. I would choose the G2 because gaming and 97 inches.
And
Sony doesn't have a
the
97
form
inch.
factor too.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that TV looks legit on the wall. I mean, if you have a beautiful home and you know, and you have a side profile to your house, you don't want you walk by the TV side profile because that wall may end and you go down the hallway. Everybody can see behind those TVs. Now with the G2, G1, you can't see behind it. I mean, that's why the frame is popular too.
Yep.
You know, when people start, you know, not just ladies, but people are thinking about the design of their home.
Absolutely.
They don't want to see. No one wants to see bulky cords everywhere. So, you know.
And what I'm thinking is, well, a reason to choose the G2. Also, many calibrators prefer LG because of its 3D LUT calibration. It's just a little bit different. You could fine-tune the near blacks better than the Sony. So for those of you who are sticklers for color accuracy, the G2 is better than the Sony in that respect, but at the end of the day, when you're watching movies, people still end up preferring the Sony. So it's just something to keep in mind. Maybe the G2 raises that game.
Classy makes a good comment. The A9 Gen 5 has improved direct to 4K upscaling and 5,000 zone tone mapping. So I don't know much about any of that, but
we'll see,
awesome.
Right? Hey, you're going to be calibrating this stuff, Classy. I can't wait. And speaking,
wait, are those guys down in Florida right now or not? Wait, are they going to get? I'm not sure if they're on their trip yet. I'm not sure if
Series 2, whatever.
Was it
ISF?
Matt? Was it Matt and
and Classy,
Ninjician and Classy? I'm not sure when they were supposed to go. But what were you going to say before?
I was going to say.
Ooh, good catch.
What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I remember. LG, I forgot to mention, they will finally upgrade their Z Series 8K OLED this year to the ZK series, but again, it'll be super expensive, $20,000. So, but at $20,000, would you rather get a 97-inch 4K OLED?
Yes.
Right. So you could choose between a 8K 88-inch.
I wonder what Brian will think, Whisper Status, about the softness of a 97-inch OLED 4K. I know he talks about that, even on the 83. Even on the 77, but he likes his 77 A80J.
Well, but that takes us to the softness of projectors in general. If you notice, at 120-inch, at 100-inch, at 150-inch, all projectors are soft.
Yeah.
I'm okay with soft. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I see it like when you watch like lower bandwidth movies, like you watch like HBO Max or something, I'll notice on my 83-inch, it's not, you know, like for example, here's another good one. I have YouTube TV and I watch it on my C1 in my office. It's a 48-inch,
right? And
it looks really good. And then I watch YouTube TV. I watch a movie, similar stuff on my 83-inch, and I'm like, this looks like crap. And I know it's because YouTube TV is just terrible.
That's
they have
something
terrible.
to think about.
But you know, you're taking like a 720. Really, it's not even a good 720 picture, and then you're stretching it out 4 times the size. It's like, you know.
Right. Oh, thank you for that super chat, Travis. What's his question?
Do you know how many dimming zones in any mini LED product of this year?
Okay, so we can safely say, let's start with my favorite mini LED product this year is the Sony X95K backlight master drive with mini LED and hundreds of dimming zones. Sony never ever reveals the number of dimming zones, but if they are willing to say hundreds and hundreds, maybe it means several hundred, 300, 400. Knowing Sony, you're going to get better blooming control with less dimming zones than anybody else. The question is whether it will match Samsung. So with Samsung, they are no longer revealing their dimming zones either. So we're going to have to get into the service menu in Samsung to see the count, the math. Sony, we will literally have to count it, and we know that Brandon loves to count dimming zones, so we'll have maybe live stream a dimming zone count.
Yeah, I was replying to Rick Shaheen saying that he lost a bet because I mentioned YouTube TV. Him and his wife must have been betting on it, so sorry, bud.
Every time you mention it, he has to take a drink, is that it? Is that what they do in Ohio
drinking
now?
game. Every time I bitch about cable.
No, every time I say backlight master drive, everyone take a drink of water.
That's funny. Dude,
But-
I think Caleb mentioned something about drinking games in his video. He got a little funny in his video there. The restraints were off, man. He was just going to town, making cracking jokes.
It's loosening up. What's
Yeah,
it?
it's
I
awesome.
think this is the.
Is there a Sony showcase?
So someone's talking about the A95K QD OLED from Sony. I'm sorry guys, you're gonna have to wait. It appears that it won't launch or release until the end of the year. So as excited as I am for the QD OLED, we're not gonna see it at the shootout. I'm not gonna be able to review it until next December, or this December, right? In 11 months. So it's gonna end up being officially a 2023 TV because I'll get it in my hands at that time. So as far as 2022 is concerned, no one's gonna have a QD OLED to review because they're not releasing it until late in the year. Samsung may release it before Sony, but it won't be far before, maybe November at most. But I think this will end up being an early 2023 release, so we'll see. But for sure, I am excited to see QD OLED. However, there is no QD OLED here. There's no Sony QD OLED on display. There is no Samsung QD OLED. Well, I take it back. Maybe. We might be able to see it. But based on some insider information, there's no QD OLED for anyone to see at CES. So if that changes, I'll let you guys know.
Hey, make sure to hit the like button real quick. There's a lot of people on here. Appreciate you guys coming in, stopping by, asking questions. Keep firing away. Hit that like button while you're here. Help us out. Spread the love. People are looking for CES content. So
Look, it's CES. You want to come by and say hello?
we're live.
So they're making sure that we got our back massages and all the facilities are available to big broadcasters like us. So we've been treated very well by CES, getting this amazing booth. Thank you again. Shout out to you, CES, for a wonderful setup. On the other side, right here, is the official CES broadcast booth. We got this half of the platform, so it's amazing. We're at the Venetian, so if you guys are at the Venetian, come on by and we'll say hello.
No worries.
Thank you.
So we're sharing internet with another podcast group, and they just want to double check kind of like what we're using and how we're. I think we're pretty low
what we're using
bandwidth.
is we're going direct on Verizon. The Verizon SIM card is what I'm using because unfortunately.
Oh, got you.
Remember?
But mine on we're not even using much at all then.
Yeah. So we're live streaming directly on the Verizon SIM card because ironically enough, the CES facility or the Venetian facility, its Wi-Fi and its Ethernet is actually low bandwidth. I don't even know if it can support 1080p. So just in case, I brought a backup, which is the SIM card, and it's working fine. So we're on Verizon's hotspot SIM card that's plugged directly into my YOLO Live Pro box. So you guys want to know what gear we're using? I am using the YOLO Live Pro plugged directly into my camera. We are using Sony's adapter with a mic that's built in. And
The K3M.
the K2M, right? And my camera is the Sony Alpha 1, which I don't recommend to anyone, despite being 8K and very expensive. It overheated. You guys saw it earlier.
Well, for streaming, but
For
it's an awesome.
streaming,
It's
it
an
is
awesome camera.
'cause I've been using it
It's
all
a 50
year.
megapixel camera. Mine's like 12. But I looked at that and I was thinking like, okay, is 12 good enough for what I need, right? But 4K is only 8
It is?
megapixel.
It
and they
is.
shot the movie Dune. Wait, is it Dune? No, maybe not Dune. Blade Runner 2049. Other movies, they've shot it on an RS camera that's like a 7 megapixel camera.
Yeah, you don't need that resolution.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't.
So, yes, for picture taking, which I like to take stills, 12 is fine. I only really pretty much post on social media.
Right.
But I was a little concerned that like I just bought this camera, now I'm stoked to take more pictures, and now I have a 12 megapixel camera. But I have G Master glass. It's beautiful. Like the bokeh is insane. And I took some pictures of my kids when we were stuck in Chicago. I got stuck overnight in Chicago on New Year's Eve. Whatever. We're boring anyways. We weren't gonna party, so we hung out in got to eat all the ice cream, and we went to a bowling alley and had a bunch of nasty food. It was great. So anyways,
One thing to keep in mind about the 12 megapixel, the only reason you'd add more megapixels is if you blow up the camera, That's it. If you're not going to blow up like large
Right.
sizes, more than an 8x10.
When I was talking to some people, it's like your camera with 50 megapixels has to downsample all the way to get it. So yours is doing so much more work.
It is.
And my camera doesn't have to do that work. And with the lower megapixel, it can get the ISO can go up to 12,800.
Yep.
That's its natural ISO, and it's like 12,800 is insane. You could be in pitch dark and get good footage.
And this is why sometimes you're paying for features that you're not really using.
Right.
What you need, and what you do need, which is non-overheating,
Yeah.
it still happens. So
And that happens with TVs too. Like we talk about all these features, and it's like, most of the people are like, I want 4K 120. They don't even have an Xbox. They don't have an Xbox Series X or anything.
Absolutely.
So it's like whatever.
And I apologize, guys, if we're missing your questions. Just keep on asking it. Click like. We'll answer all the questions as we catch it. So keep on asking the same questions, and we'll make sure to get to it.
We haven't seen the C2 yet. We haven't been over to the LG spot yet. We're going later. It's really, CES opens tomorrow.
Right.
But today's media day, and yesterday was so we got to go. I don't know if we're going to try. I'm going to probably try to get over to Sony.
Yeah.
And then go over to we're going to like a premiere Samsung event.
First look, what they call it?
Yeah, first look. We got hooked up. Caleb hooked us up from Digital Trends. Thank you, Caleb. What's up?
You're the man.
You check his video out on the LG stuff. It's pretty cool. I liked it. We'll talk about it later. But we couldn't decide if he was green screening that and he was standing in front of B-roll or if he was actually at it. I think he was actually at it.
Okay, so let's do this, guys. Catch Caleb's video on the LG G2. I thought he looked green screen myself. But
is he standing in front of a green screen? I think he's there. I don't know.
Maybe he's there.
Because he's there today over at Sony's.
I know he's there, but it was released so quickly.
It was I mean, he can turn those videos around, man.
Yeah, the guy's a beast with his team. We are like one-man team.
I gotta get an assistant.
My assistant is my son, who's not even here.
No picture? Did we lose our picture?
No.
No picture, guys. Can everyone see us? I don't know.
Wait, how can we see a picture?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, that makes sense. We can see our picture.
Maybe he caught the older one.
I don't know what happened. Oh, maybe he's behind.
He's behind, yeah.
And then he commented. There you go. Good point.
Any questions we missed?
No. Here's one. Does Sony have QD OLED on display there?
No QD OLED displays by anybody. And if you guys are wondering, if you haven't caught what we're saying, QD OLED will be launched at the end of the year. Sony in December, Samsung, we don't know, but
hold still. Earthquake. They just had a forklift go flying by.
Oh wow,
yeah. They asked if Vinny's here.
No,
HDTV test.
He's not here, but he has great coverage. I caught a lot of the details in his video. Good job, Vinny.
Yeah, and someone mentioned on here, which is what I heard too, that Caleb said he was the first one to get to see like LG's setup. He was literally the first media person there. So I don't think he would then green screen it from afar. He's impressed with how fast he turned that video out.
And the quality, like,
because we were talking to him and he wasn't even in town yet, and then all of a sudden he's got a video. It's
like what? But we'll find out. We're gonna have dinner with him later, or maybe we can't disclose. You might have to have this on an NDA. So
right? Can't tell you where we're gonna eat.
It's a secret.
We don't want all the people coming up to celebrities. Yeah, right. I'm kidding. I had a funny story. A guy that worked at Best Buy, I think his name is Jason. What's up, Jason? I had my mask on, and I was like talking to one of the guys that I always talk to there, James. Matt, I think Matt knows him. And I was like, "What's up, James?" I'm like, "Open box, huh?" I'm like, "I just made a video about open box." And this guy turned around. He's like, "Oh my God, wait, you're that guy from YouTube?" And he's like, installer or something? And I'm like, his eyes were like bug-eyed. And it's not because, I mean, he was just, he didn't know I was local. It was pretty funny. Right. I think like 2 or 3 people have ever noticed me, and it's pretty funny.
Well, this is why I had to come up with a name that's easy that ended up being, FOMO. So you have, you could be like Bro the installer. Yo,
Bro. Not B. People call me B. It's fine.
That's right.
I really like, I know people give like Best Buy a hard time or whatever. I like the people that work there because everybody's doing their thing, and if they're into electronics, they work there, and I enjoy that. So, I mean, if I had a Value Electronics right next to me and I could just talk to Robert all day long, of course that would be cool too.
Yep.
And I'm sure his employees are awesome as well. So I just enjoy talking to the people. Hey, what's up, buddy love? Got a comment. Will the 42-inch OLED have anti-burn-in feature? what is the word?
Yes.
It was a word on the grapevine.
So the 42-inch OLED is going to use the older last year's panel. When you say anti-burn-in feature, it's always about the algorithm. So yes, it will have the software to prevent burn-in, but you guys hate that, right? You get ABL is worse, and your picture levels will be lower. So anti-burn-in means it doesn't get as bright as other TVs, and that's why Sony, sometimes a bit dimmer, is they have very aggressive anti-burn-in. So anti-burn-in on all the C2s, the answer is always yes. If you want it super bright, that means that they're pushing it as hard as they can despite the anti-burn-in. That's for the G2. Hopefully that answers your question. But all modern OLEDs, whether it's 2021 or 2022, will have anti-burn-in, without a doubt. It's just how aggressive that is, and that will end up lowering your APL, average picture level.
So what do you think about, now that they're brighter, are there going to be more burn-in issues? Like, obviously,
that's the heatsink. That's what
so
the heatsink is for. Yes.
But like even the C1, C2, they're supposed to be a little brighter. So are we concerned that the C2 could revert to back in the C8,
let's
C7 issues? You know,
if we talk about what causes burn-in, it's organic and heat. Heat plus organic results in burn-in, and when they say it's more efficient, it causes less heat for the same brightness. So less heat, same brightness or brighter, burn-in risk is reduced. Right. So ultimately, the less heat you have going into an organic OLED, the less likely of burn-in.
Here's another cool thing. Asus will release a 42-inch OLED with heatsink.
That's LG's displays OLED, so maybe that's your G2, right? If the G2 doesn't come in a 42-inch, which I don't think it does this year, there you go.
Asus has got one. That'd be pretty awesome. I don't know anything about that. So.
I think Asus overprices their stuff personally.
Yeah.
I'd rather get the 42-inch Sony A90K, right? That's what Classy was saying.
But there's going to be a C2. There's going to be a 42-inch C2
without a heatsink.
Right.
So if you want a heatsink movie, watching 42-inch is the Sony A90K, or 48-inch is the Sony A90K. If you want to game on a heatsink, you might have to go with Asus, because the G2 does not go that small, and the C2 does, but no heatsink. That means it doesn't get as bright as the Asus, probably. But we'll see, right?
This is pretty cool. Blake, you know, he said, I want to see the C2 versus the Sony 42-inch, and then you could throw the Asus in there. Cool thing about that is 42-inch TVs are manageable, so you could put those in the room. Like trying to compare two 65-inch TVs is like you got to back up 20 feet. So yeah, I mean, I could see myself doing that. I don't have the gaming chops to really, you know, see if I notice like a quick, you know, a lag, input lag difference and all that. But I'm sure, you know, Classy, you know, maybe Tech KG, FOMO here, Matt, I mean, Ninjician, you know, who knows? A lot of guys would do it.
So Keep It Classy is saying actually the A90K will have no heatsink.
Okay.
So that means
the only one might be the Asus, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, that means if you're watching TV, not gaming, so you're not looking at Asus, the smallest TV with a heatsink will end up being the 55-inch G2 or A90J.
Right.
You can't get any smaller with a heatsink. And someone's mentioning about the Evo, so confusion with Evo. And I know Classy hates the term Evo. Last year, Evo. This year, EX. So EX stands for Evolution Experience, whereas Evo stands for Evolution. So this year's EX is the Evo with the additional more deuterium in the blue. Last year's Evo has some deuterium, but not as much as this year. This year's EX is a thinner, more efficient. There's a carbon fiber frame. It's a lot lighter. So for those of you getting this year's Evo, which is the EX, you get the benefit of a lighter, thinner OLED with more efficiency. I don't think technically it will get that much brighter than last year's Evo. It will just burn less energy getting to the same brightness. However, you will get heatsink options on the EX that you did not get last year on the G2. So the G2 uniquely offers you a heatsink in the 77-inch, which the A90J doesn't have, and the 97-inch, which the A90J also doesn't have. So if you need a heatsink, top-of-the-line OLED in the 77-inch or the 97-inch, you go with the G2. 83-inch has both the A90J and the G2, and of course 55 and 65 has both. Which one to get? If you game, get the G2. If you don't, well, you gotta check out the shootout to see if in cinema, most accurate mode, which is going to win? I think the G2 is going to kill the A90J in the near blacks unless the A90J updates its firmware to address that, because that was the weakest link last year for the A90J, but we'll see.
What's up? Hey, I want to say what's up to the tech giant, man.
Oh, tech
the
giant.
tech giant is on our here. I don't think I've ever seen him on one of our live streams, but I've seen a ton of your videos, man. That's awesome. Have you seen his channel before?
I have, and I need
Here,
to
look.
work out. I don't think I'm buff enough.
Watch. Oh, so you know who it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's the big guy.
Totally.
I think he's from Australia, right?
I think he lifts the C series with one arm.
I think he's the only guy that could rival me for hanging TVs just because he's huge. Although I have the technique. I mean, I'm 6'2", 225. I'm not a huge guy, but that's awesome. I've watched a bunch of his videos. So what's up, dude?
I want to see the tech giant hang a 97-inch G2
He
by
and
himself.
he and I could hang it pretty easy together. I know he hangs a lot of the TVs over his fireplace too, so I've always checked that out. So what's up? You guys check his videos out.
Yep.
He likes to show videos of, like, checking out the, kind of burn-in or to show if there's been retention after a certain amount of time.
Here's a good comment by David Hammond. This is going to be the same theme. He says he has the G1. He has FOMO for the G2. And let me tell you, unless you're getting a larger G2, do not upgrade to the G2 at the same size. It's so similar in picture quality, even with a heatsink.
That's basically with like every TV.
Yeah.
I mean, who was it? It was like Brian, I think, that said, 3 or 4 years. But like, unless you have a spot to put that TV and then get the next one and you just have extra money to burn, the differences are going to be pretty subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a FOMO for the G2, and this applies to everyone, you got the A90J, the A80J, the G1, C1, doesn't matter. If you want to upgrade to the G2, upgrade to a larger size. 77-inch, 83-inch, 97-inch. All three are available in the G2. Now it's an upgrade. And I think that would be awesome. Someone mentioned something I wanted to address, which is really good.
Oh, that's right. Paul, I remember now. Paul, tech giant from the UK. That's right. If he was from Australia, he'd be sleeping right now anyways, I think, right? It's getting pretty late. It's got to be getting pretty. It's probably like, what is it, like 10 o'clock in UK right now, or 11?
There was a good comment. Oh, I'm missing this. QD OLED, pressure on your LG. Okay, let's talk about Samsung's OLED TV release. I don't know if I told you the update. I was going to do a video on this. I didn't have a chance. We'll do it right here. Samsung OLED TVs. We're talking LG OLED, not QD OLED, right? So you guys all updated. We're talking about how Samsung is buying 2 million panels from LG to sell OLED.
Right.
So here's what's happening. Samsung is pressuring LG Display to sell the OLED panels. Get this.
Hold on, we got this is news is worth it. They probably can't hear it. I don't know.
Is this? Can you hear me with the background
It's pretty
noise?
loud. It's pretty loud. He's got good news, so it's pretty funny. We'll wait for this to go off. I guess these guys didn't check with us to ask us if they could talk over the intercom. I didn't approve this comment. By the way, there is a cockpit behind us. There's like a 737 cockpit right behind us.
All right.
Anyways, go ahead.
So, Samsung, they're saying, look, we'll even buy more OLEDs than LG Electronics, right?
Yeah.
In return, you sell us the OLED at $100 less per panel. Power move, man. So LG Electronics is buying it at around $600 per panel. Samsung says, buddy, $500, and we're gonna buy 2 million.
Yeah.
And you know why? So here it is. This allows them to price their OLED TVs at under Neo QLED pricing. And
that's crazy.
That's so smart, but an LG display is like, oh, that's a lot of money. And if the sale goes through, LG Electronics is like, what the hell are you doing? We own you, LG Display. What?
Well, do they, or is it?
They do.
They do technically,
LG
but it's
Electronics
independent.
is the parent company of LG Display.
Right.
I mean, it's sister company, blah blah blah. But ultimately, LG Display answers to LG Electronics, even though they're independently run. But if LG Display can just buckle and sell 2 million to Samsung, because they are in financial trouble, by the way.
Who is?
LG Display.
Well, maybe
they shut down all their LCD manufacturing, except for IPS manufacturing of monitors and stuff. Their TV stuff, They're like, whatever, because the Chinese are taking over LCD manufacturing.
Wow.
And so all they have is OLED, and Samsung's like, we'll buy it all. We'll buy your A series, we'll buy all your bin stuff, your unbinned, give us all your crap, we'll turn it into a frame, we'll buy it all. $2 million. But you gotta sell it to us for $100 less.
Samsung's a big player, man. Samsung's a big player. They got some cash.
They may change their life, you know? So until that deal is done, Samsung, you know, obviously they don't have supply yet, but once that deal is done, whatever that amount is, you're gonna start seeing Samsung OLED TVs. But until they can get it at the price they want, we're not gonna see it. So Samsung, let's see. Predictions, everyone. Who thinks LG Display is going to buckle? And their financials are not healthy. LG Display, not LG Electronics. Will LG Display buckle and sell their OLED panels at a discount to Samsung?
Maybe they'll just have to go discount across the board, man. I don't know. Who knows?
They're saying Tech Giant is English.
Yeah, and they said he could take me. Of course he can take me. I don't even lift weights, man. I'm a wuss.
He's not.
I just play basketball.
It was like Shaq. It is a
I
few
guarantee I
push-ups.
can beat him in basketball, though. But I maybe not. Maybe he's really good at basketball too.
Maybe I could beat him with 3 pointers.
Paul is definitely a bigger guy than me. I'm not trying to fight anyone really, so don't worry about it.
Horse. We'll play horse.
Yeah. Arm wrestle. I'm left-handed, so maybe that would be my maybe that's where I'd have it.
Here's
Probably
not.
not.
Here's a great question from Jariah D'Souza. When Samsung gets the OLED, will they put a heatsink? Here's the problem with Samsung TV, OLED TVs. They haven't had a chance to really play with it. I don't know how sophisticated their TV team is working with OLED. So the answer is maybe, maybe not. Unless they steal a couple of people from Sony and LG, they may not know how to properly design a full OLED TV, honestly, right? I mean, they're great with cell phones and all that stuff, but all those OLEDs are direct RGB OLEDs. They've never worked with the WOLED from LG as a TV. So I don't know. I don't think their first generation will have a heatsink, personally. Oh, we got a super chat from Chris Benson.
Oh, yeah. I need to
Chris.
upgrade my lame. He's got to upgrade his lame 77-inch A80J. JK. Have fun at the show. Yeah, right?
And here's my response. It is only lame if you have room for an 83-inch G2, which I think is going to be cheaper than the 83-inch A90J. I think that's the game changer right there. So this is a prediction. You guys tell us, do you think the 83-inch G2 will be cheaper than the A90J when it launches in April, I think? I think it will be. And that will completely, I think, demolish A90J sales, because depending on how the shootout goes, we may end up just recommending going with the G2 at the 83-inch size, because you got gaming features, you got everything else, right? I mean,
it's definitely. I just wouldn't. I just have to tell people, like, it's not worth getting rid of a brand new TV for the next one. I mean, you gotta. You know, everyone has different levels of income, but man, you could. I don't know. The only reason that I may do that is because I need to review it, and therefore my TV may go somewhere else. I probably will end up with an 83-inch A90J in my bedroom just because of like lack of options.
look.
So if someone wants to buy some of my old TVs, I'll give them to you at a great discount.
Hey, Keep It Classy has, I haven't seen any videos, by the way. Both Brandon and I have been running around all over CES. So if this is recent, Keep It Classy says, did you see Linus Tech Tips measurements of the Samsung QD OLED? I have not.
A few people have mentioned that in this.
Hey, tell us.
I think it's like, as they said, it's like 1,000 nits or 900 nits. I don't know.
If it's 1,000 nits or 900 nits, that's a game changer. That would be my new, well, not the Samsung, it would be the Sony version, but if Sony QD OLED can get to 900 nits, that would make it equivalent to the A80J and the A90J. That's a game changer for us cinema file enthusiasts who want color accuracy, and we know that we don't need over 1,000 nits for color accuracy, but the color volume at 900 nits, suddenly the professional BVM reference monitor is accessible at under $10,000. So yeah, I'm sold, man.
And
900 nits?
Yeah, Mustafa Papa. I saw some people commenting, including you. I just didn't have a chance to mention it. Yeah, he said 90% BT 2020, 1,000 nits, 90% BT 2020.
So
and the best TV in terms of viewing angles.
So I have FOMO now.
Or angles, but angles.
97 inches too big, and it's 20,000 is too expensive.
Yeah.
55-inch QD OLED will be under $8,000, right? Probably under $7,000. My prediction: Samsung QD OLED, 55-inch, around $5,000 to $6,000. My prediction. No inside information. But if it's $5,000 to $6,000 QD OLED for 55-inch, I would definitely get it for my purposes as a reference monitor to compare color volume with all my review TVs, because now we know what color are we missing, right? So it's so important to know what you're missing. If you look at ratings, I almost said ratings, the ratings measurements of color volume on all TVs, from OLEDs to LCD, consistently, it's on the OLEDs, it's been below 85% of BT 2020. We're losing color volume and we're losing color gamut from some content that does have all of that. And we saw it in person. When we're at the shootout, the BVM, we saw color in the faces that was not in any of the TVs. Not on the Samsung, not on the LG, not on the Sony, on the BVM only. Will this bring all that color back to the TV?
We got some updated stats too. He said 200 nits full field, 1500 nits highlights, 90% BT 2020. That's what Classy said.
That's a game changer.
200 nits full screen's pretty good.
Hey, Classy, you and I will get in line. You know you need it, I need it, Matt needs it. This is going to be great this is a great excuse for calibrators and reviewers to buy a TV as a reference TV. It doesn't get better than this, folks. I'm so excited. So we have FOMO for next December already. Sony QD OLED, A95K. Let's call. We'll talk to Robert tomorrow. Robert will have more details tomorrow. He's going to call Sony today, get some updates from Sony, see when we could sign up and lock in our waiting list. I think I've asked him to be on the waiting list several months ago, so I should be #1 on the list. But guys, if you need a reference level, color accuracy, 55-inch TV, this is it. I was very disappointed that the Panasonic isn't sold in the USA, but this is good enough for me. What are your thoughts on all of that? And yep, WRGB OLED is 70% of BT 2020. That's the best that it can go, right? And we saw that difference on the BVM at the shootout. And for sure, in 2023, when the QD OLED from Sony is available, that'll be on the 2023 shootout. Look, we're already talking about next year's shootout. That is going to be amazing, because if it can match the BVM, suddenly that could be the new reference TV that we'll use moving forward, because I think it'll beat the BVM. I don't think the BVM can get to 90% BT 2020. So.
You have 8%.
Huh?
8% battery.
Oh, 8%. So I'm going to switch up batteries real quick, guys. We're going to be off for, let's see how fast I can do it.
Can you plug in the USB? You want to just unplug the monitor and plug it in?
I'm just going to hot plug it.
Okay.
Because mine doesn't run off.
But then it's going to turn everything off, right? I think if you just unplug I don't know how much power that gives. Does it give too much? Okay. He's just going to plug in the camera so we can keep going. Let us know if you guys, let's see. Been going for an hour and a half. I got to eat some lunch here eventually too. It should charge. Yeah, mine charges USB. No nothing, no sound, no battery. Boom. All right, guys, sorry about that. Only like 20% of everyone left. We lost the battery. We needed to change the battery. Change the battery. Well, we put the USB-C in. It didn't charge. Took the battery out. Lost that. Then when it comes back on, we have to reconnect sound. It's all good. Hey, it's a new system, and we're doing pretty
learning
good.
on the job.
Rick Shaheen said I wouldn't watch them if they were professional. So thanks, Rick. Very nice.
Thank you. Wait, someone sent us a super chat. We're now professional for $10, right?
Yeah.
So, for those of you who want to try live streaming on site, this is the technical difficulties that you have to deal with, and we're not the only ones. Everyone broadcasting here are facing Wi-Fi difficulties. So
they just came by and said that they're going to drop a fiber optic line here, so maybe that'll kill it.
We're big time.
If we get a fiber line connected to our switch, I think everyone will be like happy.
If I go to 4K, awesome. We have to switch cameras and try yours next time.
Yeah, we'll use my camera. I haven't used my camera for anything yet except for doing some B-roll of an orange tree. So yeah, I'm down.
And this is 1080p. Guys, tell us, how does 1080p look on your TV?
I think it looks pretty good. I think the 24 millimeter lens is where it's at right there. This is. Do you use this for when you live stream?
Yes. I only have one lens. It's this one.
Right, but you use this camera for live streaming?
Oh, no. I use my El Cheapo.
Right, because this looks beautiful. There's a 24. It's a wide lens, and it's like you can see how awesome what is it set at? f1.4?
1.4. Yeah. So it's on its fastest speed. S Cinetone, right? We love S Cinetone.
Yeah.
And only this GM lens, G Master, goes down to f1.4 at the 24 millimeter. And it has the S Cinetone, and yet overheating at 4K 60.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
It hurts.
Oh, you're at 4K 60 on this?
No, this is 1080p because I'm afraid of
1080, 30, yeah. And I have the 35, but I think the 35 is a little too tight. I don't know. I'm still confused at what to do on lenses. So if any of you guys are professional videographers or photographers, you can give me more advice on lenses. But I have a 35 millimeter G Master, but it's a little tight. I just like to do. I don't want to get the 24 to 70. It's like $2,000 and it weighs like 15 pounds.
Hey, Andy is saying our quality is better than our normal live streams. We just live at CES, right?
Well, that's the other thing is I use a crop sensor camera and the bokeh's not that quite good, and I'm right up, I'm right close to it. So I might even get a 20. The 20 might be a good idea. Yeah. I saw a professional that said the 21 point, is it a 1.8 or 1.4?
It's a 1.8.
Yeah.
Unless you need that
it's way cheaper.
Yeah.
But the 1.8 is like $600.
The G Master, the G, it's just a G, but it's so much cheaper. They're saying unless you need that 1.4, go with the 20 millimeter. And the picture quality is amazing other than the outer edges, but you don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks Brad for that super chat. I think I would call this a pity super chat because of our struggles.
I love it.
And Brad, thank you, my friend.
You got to keep it going so I get the muscles like Paul. They think I'm going to fight him in the octagon. I'm not fighting him in the octagon.
And we got Tone with a 1.4 GM.
See, and Class C says get the 20. The thing with the 20 or the 24 even is I don't like it having the curving for when I film the TVs.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get the 35 and back out and just back away from the TVs. So I don't, because my Sigma lens has a little bend to it, and I hate that. What do you call it? Just when it bends like that.
The curvature.
Yeah, it's not. So I don't know. We'll see. The 35 is more or less the same as the 24, but it's a brand new lens. It's a beautiful lens. And street photography and stuff, when I'm walking around with the family, I love getting pictures with the 35.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I like the 35. I was telling Classy this because we were talking lenses as well. If I wasn't reviewing TVs, I wouldn't need the 24, but to capture everything. Yeah,
it's 24. 24 is a great focal length for reviewing TVs.
Because you're back far enough that you don't get the grids.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're too close. Here's a great question by Ray.
Distortion is the word I was looking for. Distortion. But the 24 doesn't distort as bad as the Sigma 16 does.
The edge distortion. Yeah. So Ray Deb Nem, thank you for asking. A90J 83-inch, is the size difference plus picture quality worth it over the A80J 77-inch? The answer is no. Currently, it's just priced too much. Now, with the G2 83-inch or the C1 83-inch, I think that's a more important question because the C1 83-inch is cheaper. That is about it's a little bit more expensive than the A80J. I would go with the C183 inch because the size difference is more important than the A80J picture quality improvement over the C1. So that's something to keep in mind. Although the A80J 77 is better than the C177 for movies and everything, when you go to 83-inch C1, that size difference more than makes up the difference. So keep that in mind. All right, so, hey Chris, thank you for that super chat. Chris Toston. Hey guys, love your content. I bought the 55-inch A90J earlier last year. Should I be worried about buyer's remorse as far as Sony adding new features, especially for gaming? No new features for gaming, don't even worry about it. The promises we're getting from Sony is that they will figure out VRR, gaming, 4K 120, all of that this year. Basically, it's just firmware updates. Nothing new as far as hardware. I believe they're still using the same MediaTek SoC because they're still limited to only 2 4K 120 ports. That tells me it's the old SoC. The only buyer's remorse is if you wanted a larger A90J. But your 55-inch A90J is phenomenal. Full stop, end of story. The G2 at 55-inch, pretty much the same as the A90J, maybe slightly brighter specular highlights, probably slightly brighter average picture level, but that's not a big deal. In content, your A90J is just an amazing TV. But larger sizes, sure. 77-inch, yeah. 97-inch, those are unique to the G2. Sony is not updating its A90J. It's the smaller sizes that will be added to the Master Series. Let's see what other questions we got here.
They're like legitimately dropping a fiber line from the ceiling of the Venetian right now. It's going to be awesome. I kind of want to watch this.
And let me tell you why they're doing that. We ran a bandwidth check, and I was like, dude, is it right? It's showing 12 megabits per second upload.
And it was like 8 down.
I was like, wait, I thought we're in the broadcast booth.
I mean, you got to pay, you got to pay good money to get that kind of crappy internet at home.
Exactly. I'm like, I can't even upload 1080p, so I had to pull out my own Verizon SIM card, data SIM card, and plug it into my YOLO Live and use that. So now I'm up to about 24 megabits per second, which is a huge improvement over what I was getting on their direct Ethernet connection, right? So we complained, everyone, all the other broadcasters complained, and so now they called in the big boys, the optical line. I'm thinking, why didn't you guys call them in yesterday?
I don't know. They're here now, though.
But they're here. So we're going to get a direct line into my router, which I brought to CES. Got to be prepared, guys. Hey, Reginald, thank you for that super chat.
That is going to be a big no.
Have you guys seen the 3 new OLED models from Sony? No. And let me tell you guys about seeing TVs, because this goes to a lot of comments. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? When TVs are shown to you in a vacuum, it's just the TV by itself with no comparisons, it will all look awesome. But if it's worse looking than the A80J, slightly worse than the C1, you couldn't tell. As a matter of fact, if you showed me the QNED 90, LG's QNED 90 last year, its best image, that the QNED 90 looks good, just whatever, and you throw it up there, I'd look at it and go, oh, that looks like an OLED, right? The thing is, when you get what we call promotional content from the actual TV makers on display, they all look like micro LED OLED top of the line. And this could be the bottom of the line TCL. They do such a great job with the content to make it look awesome that if you see it without other TVs next to it with the exact same content, we'd all say, this is the best TV I've ever seen. And you bring it home like, what the heck? So seeing these TVs in person, I cannot tell you it looks better or worse than the A90J or the G1 or the C1. We need to bring them in and compare it head to head, right? I've been to so many of these CESs, they all look phenomenal, and you get them home like, it looks so much better at CES, what the heck happened, right? They'll turn down the lights, or they'll make the lights really bright. Whatever the weakness of the TV is, they'll adjust the environment to compensate for that, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think we should. You want to wrap it up soon here?
All right, yeah, we're going to take want to take a lunch break or whatnot? Yeah. So, guys, we will be back whenever, whatever. Take a quick lunch break. Let's catch all the questions and make sure. Did I miss anything?
We're going to jump over to Sony.
Yes.
What do you think? We'll have to figure that out. Maybe we may or may not be back, but we're definitely going to be back tomorrow, right? Or you're going to do one with Robert on your channel.
You know what? I love this setup so much. We're going to tell her we'll be back, And then
No, we'll be back here for
you'll
sure.
be back here, and then I'll live stream with Robert just using the laptop. Yeah.
Maybe I'll hang out.
Yeah, hang out,
I can
come on.
hang out. I'm
Well,
right
come
here.
on by,
we got
yeah,
the thing, or we can use my camera. Too.
I'll give you because it'll be on StreamYard. I'll give you the StreamYard link. And you hop on and whatever. Right?
I might do a little cell phone live stream walking around too. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I have the gimbal.
Yeah, I'm figuring this out in person.
Because I'm interested in seeing. I'm interested in seeing some tech, and I might branch out and do some other videos. So I'm interested in checking it out.
Absolutely. So before we go, last question or last set of information about QD OLED. You will not see any QD OLED announcements until late fall at earliest from Samsung and early winter this year from Sony, which means December 2022. Sony might say something, maybe November, October, Samsung will say something. Right now, they may be showing off the TVs in secret to people like Linus Tech Tips, but us, peasants, who knows if we'll get to see it. The specs look great though. I'm so excited about what Sony will do with the QD OLED. So until next time, pass the remote, my friend.
He's got to walk all the way around and now press the button. Not quite as smooth as the thing. See you guys. Thanks.